A case of the Mondays is not possible if you start your morning at Broncos Camp. Fans slowly making their way inside the gates, getting set for day 6 of training camp. Nice youngster with a bucket hat there. Nice Dawkins jersey as well. The players look rested and ready today as we are taking a look at Denver's linebackers with one of the best to ever play the position for the orange and blue. That and much more as we begin at UC Health Training Center. Welcome in to Broncos Training Camp Live, presented by US Bank. I'm Matt Boyer. Day 6 of Broncos Training Camp, Broncos country. The Broncos, as we mentioned at the top, they are rested. They had Saturday night off and Sunday off, the entire day off. Vic Fangio wanting his guys to rest up a little bit for what should be a very big week of training camp practice. Today's practice is going to look very similar to the ones that we saw last Friday and Saturday. They're going to be in shells. Tomorrow will be the first day of padded practice, so we're slowly making our way back to what looks like real football here in 2021. A couple of news and note items to get to today. On the injury front, worth updating you, Vic Fangio announced on Saturday that Mike Purcell will miss about a week of practice with an ankle sprain. Remember, Purcell is coming off that Liz Frank injury that sidelined him for much of last season. So the team is taking every precaution with big number 98 before turning him loose. For the linebackers, who we will get to in a minute, the injury bug hasn't bitten. It's more of a little nibble. As a matter of fact, Josie Jewell left practice with a minor groin injury, but nothing too serious, said head coach Vic Fangio. Fangio also told reporters on Saturday that Baron Browning is, quote, stuck in his recovery process from a lower leg injury. Couldn't offer up a timetable for his return, but Browning was thought of by many to have a chance to contribute this year after being drafted in the 3rd round, but he has not practiced since rookie minicamp. Now, Broncos country. Each day, our guy, the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, is bringing on an incredible guest. He's had a ton of great guests up to this point, and today we've got one of the best all time to do it at the linebacker position, a Ring of Famer, a 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, and as I mentioned, he's got his name up on the facade at Empower Field at Mile High. Number 77 is with us on set, Mr. Carl Mecklenburg. Look at those highlights, Carl.
Yeah, Steve and I were just talking about that slant and coming over the top as a linebacker. Barney Chavis didn't get washed down. They were getting washed down with Barney Chavis.
Was a big man. he could handle double teams, triple teams, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how he played, 15 years in the league and never got hurt, but he did. Unbelievable.
Well, thanks for coming on the show with us, Mac.
My pleasure.
Yes,
my pleasure.
Man. One of the best to ever do it. Mr. Carl Mecklenburg, my good friend, and, a specialist at pretty much all positions. Because you played all. What positions didn't you play on defense?
I believe that's called a generalist. is what I was. I played all 7 front positions, and actually, if you look at Joe Collier's goal line defense, I was pretty much a safety. I was 10 yards.
That's all I'm about to say. You play safety too.
That's only if there's only 10 yards behind me, because I'm not going to run down. I'm not going to cover anything deep.
Steve, this is the first guy you saw in the Broncos building when you got here, wasn't it?
When I got drafted back in 1989, I think I came in through the locker rooms at the old facilities up off of 58th, and I went over to the main building, and I look up, and like Carl and I think we're about the same height, but it seems like I remember, like I was looking at him like, oh my goodness, hello, Mr. Mecklenburg. And he was so ripped too, man. He's such a big guy, and it was impressive. When I got back to Arkansas, I told all my buddies, hey man, I met Carl Mecklenburg.
Carl, what was this guy like as a young player coming in?
Steve was as ready to play in the NFL as any rookie I ever saw come in. I mean, he made plays that just were. I remember one particular play where he was covering the back. We're blitzing. He's man-to-man in the back, and he's just kind of waiting to see if the back ends up blocking, and the quarterback throws the ball, and he jumps up, tips it, catches it, and takes. I mean, it was, it was silly. Great player right from the get-go, and that's unusual. You see everybody else or most players trying to find their way at first, and Steve just stepped right in.
Stepped into a good situation where the coaches had a defense that really fit my style of play and fit really everybody in our defensive style of play. So I was fortunate for that. And I tell people all the time that, man, sometimes it takes some luck too, to be able to be in a situation where you have players such as Carl, such as Dennis, such as, Mike Hart and those guys who take to you and who, kind of take you under their wings and show you the ropes. And then, to stay healthy and go to a system that fits the type of player that you are. So I was very fortunate in that regard.
How special was that 89 defense? I mean, you, Carl, Dennis Smith, I mean, that defense was loaded.
Oh, we had a great defense. I mean, when you look at the Super Bowl tape, it didn't look that way, but we really did. We had a great defense, a lot of great players up front, in the middle, in the secondary, guys that played hard, were unselfish. I just wish you could have won that Super Bowl, man. That Super Bowl,
that was a tough one.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, I got leg whipped in the first quarter and tore cartilage in both my knees. I was out for that 3/4 of that game.
But that's why. That was the problem.
There we go.
Yeah, I wasn't covering Jerry Rice. But yeah,
Montana thought he had it easy after he saw Mecklenburg go
out. Mecco? All right, we got it.
Oh, man.
So, Carl, what do you think about this team we got here on the field, man?
I'm excited. I really am. The defense, in '88, I got hurt. I missed six games in '88. We had a bunch of other injuries. We had a lot of backup guys playing. And then when '89 came around, we had guys with experience. We had depth. We had guys that had played before. And it made a huge difference. This defense, last year, the defensive line got wiped out right away. Von Miller going out. Now, Von Miller's a great pass rusher, but he's the heart and soul of that defense, right? If he's not in the huddle, it's a whole different thing. So to see that was disappointing last year. But what that means this year, all of a sudden you've got guys with experience. You got guys with that are hungry, plus the new guys they've had. I mean, this defense is stacked.
Yeah. Von Miller got a vet day on Saturday, so he got him 2 days off. He got the full weekend off. We only got the 1 day Sunday off. Von Miller, he's back ready to roll today, though. How important are the vet days for guys as they start to get up there in years? And what would you say is the year that guys should start getting vet days?
I'm not sure. It kind of depends on your health and your style of play. I didn't practice. I practiced 1 a day during 2 a days for my last 4 years in the league. I didn't ever practice on Wednesday in my last 4 years in the league. And as a matter of fact, one of the main considerations, reasons that I retired, is that when Mike Shanahan came in, I knew I wasn't going to have Wednesdays off anymore. I mean, Mike was at the University of Minnesota when I first got there. I knew Mike. It wasn't going to work that way.
But, man, the Wednesdays were – I guess Wednesday were
offensive.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, that's that, and it made a huge difference. My problem wasn't whether I knew what to do. My problem was whether my body was healthy enough to do it. At the end of the year, and that's the same thing for veteran guys like Von. Von knows what to do. He's a student of the game, and to me that's one of the great things about him is there's a lot of guys who are just crazy gifted pass rushers who don't pay any attention to the run, don't step in as a leader on the team, and Von's not that way. Von is a great run defender, and also obviously a crazy pass rusher. So yeah, he's the real deal, and having him back will make a huge difference, not only on 3rd and long, but the whole season.
Yeah, and we're hoping that Bradley Chubb, I think they said that it's a conditioning thing right now as to why he's not on the field just yet. But, man, when he comes back, we're hoping he can be up to speed by the first regular season game so we can all finally see Broncos country can finally see that 1-2 punch that
makes a huge difference. That really does. I played with Rulon Jones for many years, and then I played with Simon Fletcher, and that ability to threaten from both sides or side by side, they can't. An offense really can't game plan for that. If there's one guy, yeah, they can game plan for that.
Bradley Chubb has done individual work off to the side for up until this point in training camp, but it looks like he's going to run over to the outside linebacker group right now, headed up by Coach John Pagano. It looks like we're going to see him and Von Miller on the field for the first time in 2021. And like you just mentioned, Carl, how encouraging is that?
Oh, it's huge. It makes a big difference having that other strength on the other side. It's easy for an offense to say, okay, this is the one guy. Let's slide the line that way. Let's bring the back that way. Let's chip that way. But if you do that now, Chubb's one-on-one, and that's not a place you want to be as an offense. Or if you slide towards Chubb, you're gonna leave Vaughn one-on-one.
Yeah, we added some other guys to the outside linebacker room. We got the inside line. Let's talk inside linebackers here.
Looks like Josie Jewell is not out on the field right now with that group, so that injury that we talked about earlier may be lingering a bit for number 47. Alexander Johnson, though, is out there, as well as Josh Watson, Justin Stranad, Pita Tumopenyu, and Curtis Robinson. There's a lot of experience in that room, though, isn't there? I mean, how important are those ILBs going to be, Carl, in your mind, if they're going to have success here in 2021?
I believe that actually that's a strength of the team. I know that common wisdom has it that that's not, but I love what Alexander Johnson does. He's got that first step. I found out early on in my career, if you can take the first step in the right direction before anybody else does, all the angles change in your favor, everything goes your way. I see that in Alexander Johnson. He's a star waiting to break out. Last year there was so many problems on the defensive line, so many injuries, backup guys playing pretty much the whole year. That makes a huge difference in inside linebacker play. If they don't have to double team you, it's
oh man,
yeah. All of a sudden, you're man on man, and the back can cut off, whatever that block is. I had the great pleasure of playing with Reuben Carter and great nose guards, Greg Cragen, guys that would take 2 blocks every time, and that's what an inside linebacker needs.
How difficult is it to go from being an inside guy to learning that edge position to be able to go back and forth between it like you did?
Well, it's different. It's a different job. I mean, I go through my pre-snap mental checklist, and I had to remind myself, where am I lined up? I'm defensive end. I'm outside linebacker. I'm inside linebacker. I'm strong side. I'm weak side. And in each position you have different assignments. Most of the time when you're an outside linebacker, you're responsible for contain. And contain means turning the ball back to the other 10 guys on the inside of you. And that was my major role from out there. Every once in a while I'd get to go inside and the inside linebacker would scrape outside and have contain, and that was always fun. I prefer to be inside just because they can't run away from you when you're inside, right?
So Mick, let's talk about the contain for a second. How difficult was it for you to pick up the concept of contain and to be able to do it? Because we have some fast running backs, receivers, when they get tossed the ball on different plays, and they're trying to get to the outside to take advantage of mismatches of guys who aren't as fast. How do you get the right mindset to be able to contain effectively?
It's an angle thing. You can't allow yourself to get out positioned from an angle standpoint. When you break towards that running back, you've got to make sure that he can't get outside of you, just based on that. Now, every once in a while, there's a freak of nature like Bo Jackson or somebody like that who's just faster than human beings are supposed to be, and you got to change that angle, right? But you got to realize that going into the game.
Yeah. And I would say that stopping guys coming through the middle of the line of scrimmage is tough as well. I mean, having the right mentality to, see a guy running at you full speed and you got to go at him full speed. What kind of courage does that take? How did you get that? Did you always have that courage to want to just run into somebody?
Yeah.
'Cause it's not natural, is it? That's not natural.
It was natural to me. My dad used to tell a story about me in my first game. So I'm 10 years old. We got a scrimmage basically. You know, we're playing, and my dad showed up late. He had rounds that morning, so he got there a little late, and it came and put his arm around me and asked me, Carl, you know, what do you think about football? I'm a 10-year-old boy. My response is, Dad, I really love to smash guys. I guess that was a linebacker. that was what I like to do.
He wasn't expecting that, though.
No, he wasn't. My dad's a sweet, kind gentleman. You know, he's a obstetrician gynecologist, you know, this guy, and he spawned this linebacker. But it's who I was, and I loved it, and I loved playing football from day one.
I love destroying people.
Let me hit you.
Oh, man. We're showing the cornerbacks out there now. Man, the secondary room is pretty deep, especially at the cornerback position. I think the safeties will be that way, too. You know, we got to see more of them. We got to see them come up and fill those holes and play deep coverage effectively. But what does that do for a defense and for linebackers, knowing that you have corners who can cover effectively?
Yeah, everything relies on, every position relies on the guys around them, and we were talking about that earlier. If you don't have the pressure, you can't cover somebody forever, right? If you don't have the pass rush, if you don't have the coverage, doesn't matter if you're free to the quarterback on a pass rush. They've already gotten rid of the ball. And as far as linebackers go, you're not a defensive back as a linebacker because you're not fast enough. You can't stay with a tight end or a running back forever if there's not that pressure, or if there's problems behind you. You know, you rely on each other. You know, the two deep zone, which is run a lot in the NFL. You got to have deep help from those safeties. That's just part of the deal. So if you've got those good people behind you, it makes all the difference in the world.
Now, communication. Do you communicate much with corners and safeties, or was that more other positions?
I was, you got the guys behind me. You know, Dennis had control of you four guys behind me. That's all I knew is Dennis knew where to put you guys, and fine. I was in charge of the guys in front of me, so I was in charge of the front seven. You know, getting them all lined up, trying to make sure Mike Kroll knew what the heck he was doing. You know, just there was after a while you play with each other. You know who needs help, who doesn't need help, and you get them lined up right and let them go.
Well, how quickly the guys pick up the defenses? I mean, we got some new guys on the roster here. They've had OTAs. They've had you know, a couple of days of practice here. Do you think they got a decent grasp of it now, or is that to come later?
Yeah, you know, everybody out there has played football. Maybe the calls that Fangio has for this defense are different than the calls. I mean, when Joe Collier was our defensive coordinator, he called man-to-man coverage, one deep. Man-to-man coverage, a cover zero. We called it cover one under Wade, right?
It doesn't matter what you call it.
You call it number. Our three deep zone was a cover one under Joe. It was a cover three under Wade. Yeah, I mean, it's just a different term for the same job, right? So you just got to make sure you got those straight, and it's just a little conversion thing you got to go through.
Look at the D-line over there doing those sled drills. I guess you did those drills as well, huh, Carl?
Oh, yeah, push this sled. That's big fun. Right? It's, you know what? This is when you're sore. This is when, I mean, the third, fourth, fifth day, you're just, you know, your body's adjusting to hitting each other. Your body's adjusting to hitting the sled, you know, running. You can run all you want. Off season, but until you're job depends on it, and you're making a cut out there, it's different, right? And so everybody's body's sore, even if they've had a couple days off. You're going to be able to tell today which guys partied over their couple days off, and which guys slept and stretched and got a little massage or whatever, right? So I mean, this is the dog days, right? It's just starting and rolling, and I'm sure they can't wait to have a chance to hit and actually play football.
Exactly.
The linebackers, guys, will hopefully be a part of that front seven that we just saw that will terrorize offenses this season. And a guy making a name for himself this camp has been McTelvin Agim. Let's head down to Alexis Perry, who's standing by with some more info on the second-year man out of Arkansas. Alexis?
Thanks so much, Matt. Yeah, we all know when it comes to being a bubble guy, the key to making this final 53-man roster is to simply make plays that this Broncos coaching staff won't be able to forget. Now, on Saturday, second-year defensive end McTelvin Agim did just that, as he hopes to prove that he's not just worthy of a roster spot, but even a few more snaps this season. Last year, as a rookie, even with the number of injuries to the Broncos defensive line, Agim didn't get much playing time. After being listed as inactive for the first 5 games, Agim only played 141 snaps in 10 games. While he blames himself for second-guessing his end-game adjustments last season, the good news is that from what we've seen throughout camp so far, there is absolutely no hesitation to his game. In front of over 2,500 fans here at the UCL Training Center on Saturday, during 11-on-11 drills, Agim deflected and intercepted a Bridgewater ball before taking it to the house. Then, a couple plays later, he got his hand on another one. After practice, Coach Fangio said Agim is a lot better than he was last year, adding that he just feels better about where he's at right now. With the spots behind Draymond Jones, Mike Purcell, and Shelby Harris seemingly up for grabs, keep your eyes on McTelvin Agim, as his newfound confidence may just land him a more permanent spot within the rotation. Guys?
Yes, Alexa, I agree 100%. I like McTelvin when he came out of University of Arkansas. Yes, and although I liked his game last year, what I liked about his game was he does a good job of using his hands, and his pursuit is second to none. I mean, he's going to do everything he can to get to the quarterback, and when the ball is thrown, he's going to run until the whistle is blown. And if you get 11 guys doing that, you got a good chance of winning a lot of football games. Have you seen much of McTelvin Agim to?
No, you know what? I haven't, Steve, but that's not unusual, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of guys out here I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But you know what? My rookie year, I came in. They gave me the same number as a starter.
Okay.
Right, 110 guys at camp, so there's a couple double. I mean, they didn't expect me to make the team, and I made the team because I caught the coach's attention during training camp.
Hold on, so they gave you 77 right off the bat, or was it a different number?
No, it was a different number. Okay. It was 93, I believe, and then they switched me to 77 later on in camp. I was wearing my own college shoes. They wouldn't give me shoes. I got a hole in one of my socks. I tried to turn in my socks. They said, "What's the matter with the other one?" Right? That's who I was, right? So you've got to figure out a way to have coaches recognize who you are out there. And if you can tip a couple passes, you can make a play here and there, all of a sudden you get an opportunity. I got an opportunity first preseason game. I was playing in the third quarter, right? That's when they put the scrubs in, right? So I'm playing, and for some reason, Seattle's offensive tackle, the starter, was still playing. I guess he was overweight, or so they left him in. I got 2 sacks, forced a fumble, was defensive player of the game.
Come on, man.
I made the team.
Come on, man.
But that, I mean, it was not. We got a spot for you and we're saving it for you. And that's the way most of these guys are. You got this many guys out there. A large percentage of them are going to be headed home if they don't show something during these practices.
Now, they didn't have on full pads.
Right.
So does that make it? I guess that makes a little bit of a difference. Huh? I mean,
no, of course it does.
Once you get the pads on, that's when you got to show you can do those things too.
Right.
But it's a good sign,
Yeah, but they know your name all of a sudden. Wait a second, he made a play.
That's right.
You make a play. That there are guys out there who height, weight, 40 time, everything about them says these guys are going to make plays, and they don't.
They make a play.
Right? If you can make plays, you can make plays, whether it's, you know,
It don't
in
matter what number
shorts
you
or
have.
right, what number, yeah, where you were drafted, where you played college ball.
Right.
You got to be able to make plays, and so he was making them. That's great.
Alexander Johnson was a playmaker, Carl, that you mentioned a little bit earlier this morning. Phil Milani caught up with Alexander Johnson before practice to see how the fan favorite was approaching training camp.
Alexander, coming off a day off here, how's the body feeling, and does it take a little while to work out the kinks after a day off?
I wouldn't say work out the kinks after the day off, more so of just getting out here, getting warmed up, and getting back rejuvenated and fresh and moving and stuff like that.
But you're feeling good here, 4 days under your belt here?
Oh yeah, definitely feeling good after 4 days. 4 days in is feeling good. Biggest thing is staying on top of your body, so you know this wear and tear to build up. If you stay on top of it early, it'll keep you fresh longer down the road.
The pads go on tomorrow. Are you looking forward to that as a linebacker?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You know, I don't know if other guys looking forward to it, but Chief Beast ready to light them up.
I know the other day Lloyd Cushenberry came around and kind of got you a little bit there. What do you say after that? Does that kind of just get the energy levels the juices going a little more?
Yeah, it definitely do get the juices level going. I always say, man, you know, if we had pads on, I would have made the tackle in the backfield and you would have got blown up. And, you know, he said he didn't hit me hard. No, he's a strong guy. He got me. But we got the pads on now, so I don't want to hear no complaining about, he's going too hard. Somebody going to have a headache, and it ain't going to be me.
You're going to remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
Last one for you, Alexander, here is, this is really going to be your third year playing in the NFL now, fourth year overall. Is the game slowing down? Where do you feel like you're better at now?
I feel like the game slowed down. Just anything you do after being able to be in a system, and it's our third year coming into a defense, we're more familiar with it, more comfortable with it. So it's going to be able to, like you said, the game going to slow down and be able to go a little faster, make more plays, and can focus on what the offense is trying to do on us instead of focusing on exactly what I have to do on defense.
All right, well, we appreciate your time. I'll let you get out there.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Guys, back to you.
Yeah, man. Alexander Johnson, he's a baller.
Yeah, I liked his answer.
And he's a guy who loves football, too, right? I think
Yeah.
he's a guy who genuinely loves playing the game of football. He loves the physicality. He loves the working out. And I'm anxious to see, what he does this year.
How much does it change, Carl, going from non-padded practice to practice? Because of these defensive guys, it's a lot different than these offensive guys, the mentality. How does that, what kind of flip do you need to switch? What are you focusing on, padded practice versus non-padded practice?
I didn't have any non-padded practice, so I really don't know. I mean, truthfully, we on Fridays we did walkthroughs without pads, and it's different. It's a mental thing, but the threat of getting whacked isn't there, right? So you've got there's a sense of urgency when you've got pads on that's different than when you don't have pads on, and I don't care, how hard you try to simulate this is real. It's not real until there's a threat of contact.
Yeah, I remember being in training camp, and each year there would be somebody that just lights it up in camp when we don't have on pads. They're like, running backs just flying through the holes and receivers catching and making miraculous catches. When those pads came on, man, didn't see them. Couldn't find them. They disappeared. They left the building. Like, dude, you're running so fast. What happened?
Yeah, flag football superstar, right? And the same with quarterbacks. If you can't hit them in practice, there were guys that looked like they were the next Johnny Unitas, and then they get in a preseason game where it's live and they wither because that threat of contact is real even in today's game.
Yeah, and Jerry Jeudy is a guy who, last year during the season, he had a few drops, and some of them seemed like, hey, it could have been because the defender was there. But I'm looking for him to have a breakout year this year. What do you think? What do you think Jerry Jeudy can do coming back off of last year, which he actually finished the season pretty strongly?
Yeah, I think that momentum should carry into this year. He's a kid with great natural talent. but great natural talent can only bring you so far. You've got to have the mental side, the strength mentally to not worry about that contact. That contact's coming. Whether you catch it or not, you might as well catch it.
Right. Right. You're going to get hit.
Right. You're going to get hit. So that's an adjustment, right? He's great in this kind of practice, no question about it. He's got to make that next step and catch the ball when there's people flying around.
Now, did you ever get cracked by a receiver? That used to happen to me all the time. I don't know if it happened to you.
Yeah, of course. Not too much.
Well, for you, it was probably like a nuisance.
Right.
Like
get
a
this
gnat
little,
or something.
Get this little Steve Largent off of me. He'd try to block you. But yeah, no. The guy who hit me hardest in the NFL was Dennis Smith. I was covering a tight end down the middle, and Dennis came up to hit him and missed him and hit me. And the next thing I saw was Greek.
Oh, really? He knocked you out?
He knocked me out. Yeah, he knocked me out. So I got him back, though. The next week I broke his arm, so we were even.
Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, it was Dennis. Dennis was a stone cold run through people, and so were you.
I was going to tell people, like, anybody who played with or against Dennis, they have the same comments.
Right? Yeah. I mean, Dennis was a guy who instilled fear in the opponent. I remember seeing Thurman Thomas get interviewed, and they asked him, "Is there any team you don't like to play against?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't like to play against the Broncos. Dennis Smith is crazy."
Yes, right? He is. He was.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Take a look at the receivers right now. We saw Cortland Sutton a little earlier there. On the screen there is DeMornay Pearson-L. And we'll get a chance to see if he can compete, because, man, that wide receiver room is deep, and it's going to be hard for a newcomer to come in here and make the squad. But who knows?
How many they got?
He's going to get a little bit of run today because Tyree Cleveland is out with a little bit of an injury over there next to Pat Shurmur.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. They take advantage of it. You get a shot. You got to take advantage of it for sure.
And Cortland Sutton had a good practice yesterday. I thought he had a touchdown reception, didn't he, Matt?
Who's that? Last week?
Cortland Sutton. I'm sorry, Saturday. Yes.
It's hard to tell what constitutes a touchdown, because some of these guys, there was some dispute, Steve, because it looked like Sutton had stepped out of bounds near the end zone, but the offense called it a touchdown. So, well, I'll give it to him though. I'll give 14 the credit there.
If he stepped out of bounds, it wasn't a touchdown. Come on, man. We're defensive players over here. We're not going for that.
All right.
If he's out of bounds, he's out of bounds.
Fair enough. Whether it's Sutton, whether it's Judy or Tim Patrick, they've been grabbing touchdowns and headlines. Is this the deepest position group the Broncos have in 2021? Wide receivers coach Zach Azzanni certainly thinks so. He caught up with Sidney Jones this morning.
Day 5 of training camp, Coach Azzanni, how's the first week been going for you?
Good. First week's good, trying to get these guys' legs underneath them, learn the offense. It's heavy install every day, but, real football starts tomorrow. So we got one more day of running around in our underwear here, and then tomorrow starts the real stuff.
I mean, you have a talented group. What expectations do you have for this receiving corps for this season?
Yeah, we can't be scared of those expectations. They're very, very high. We know that. We got a lot of talent. It's fun to coach. We come out here every day and it's a different guy making plays, and then the next day it's another guy making plays, and they have fun with each other. So I'm spoiled. It's a good room, but we got to keep pushing. And just every day, we talk about watering the root every day and not thinking about the fruit. So we're not thinking about all those expectations and things, but at the same time, they can't be scared of them either.
Obviously, Cortland's back out there. How's he looking?
He's looking good. The expectations for him are, just kind of gradual. He hasn't played football in a year. I mean, he wasn't in the offense but one game last year. So this is all kind of new to him and trying to get his knee underneath him. And he's doing a great job. He's a dream kid to coach. I mean, he does everything you ask. So slow but sure with him so we can get him into that first game healthy.
What are you looking to see from, second-year receivers, KJ, Jerry, over the next couple weeks and then for the season?
Sure, just being more professional about everything that they do, how they practice, how they take care of their bodies, what they do off the field. They're all talented. If we can take care of that other stuff, then they'll come out here, they'll take care of those habits, those little things that I'm asking them to do. And now they know that every day now is not a brand new day. They know what to expect now. So it's been fun to watch them. They're different than they were last year for sure.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Coach Azzanni, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back to you guys.
Hey, nice job, Sydney. I love Zach Azzanni, man. He's such a good coach. He has a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy that he gives to those guys. And I agree with him, man. Cortland Sutton, I think that at the beginning of the season, we can't expect Cortland to be exactly what he was before he was injured. It's going to be a slow, I don't know how slow or how fast, but it's going to be a ramp up to that. But I think by mid to end of the season, he'll be back in rare form, and everyone will be happy with this progress.
Yeah, he's got to learn to trust the knee, and that's a hard thing to do. Anybody who's played football for very long has gotten injured, except Barney Chavis.
What, he never got hurt?
He did get hurt one time. I substituted for him, but yeah, no, he was like wired with cable. But these guys, every single one of them have had to come back and recover from, a slight groin pull or a this or that. But an ACL is a different thing. It takes some time, and you got to make sure you trust it, because once you're out there in full pads and it's live, it's time to go. If you're not going full speed, you're going to get hurt again.
Oh yeah. And for all the Broncos country out there watching, as you'll see, the image that you'll see is going to be a close-up image. We cannot show you the full formations, because if you can see the full formations, guess what?
So can the Raiders.
So can the Chiefs. Yes, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want them to see it. So unfortunately, you just got to, take the close-in shots, get a feel for, what your favorite players are looking like out here. Got Javonte Williams there on a run to the right-hand side, taking it all the way to the end zone. Very nice job. 33.
It's a quick jump cut. That's tough to defend. That looked like the play was supposed to go off between the center and the guard, and he bounced it out between the guard and the tackle, and then that's where the hole was.
He looks like he has the body build of a great running back.
Right, that stout kind of thick guy that's hard to get your arms around.
And he's fast.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're bigger, faster, stronger nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how Coach Sherman will use the two of them, Melvin Gordon. Well, it's 3 or 4 of them. It depends on how it all shakes out in the end. You got,
sure.
Of course, you got Melvin Gordon, you got Javonte Williams, you got Mike Boone, and you got Royce Freeman. People were talking like Royce Freeman is not even on the team. Well, he's still on the team, and he's been getting some run out here, and he looks pretty good.
Sure. He seems like a guy that can handle a blitzing linebacker and a guy that will get you 3-4 yards if you need it.
All right, nice reception to Noah Fant. Mick, did you like covering tight ends?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you said like, yeah,
no. That was that. I never went backwards on a football field in my life on purpose until they switched me to linebacker 3 years into the pros. So it was the biggest adjustment. And Joe was smart. Joe would set up defenses so I wouldn't be isolated on great receiving guys, whether it was a back or a tight end. On my own. But more often than not, if they knew it was going to be a pass, I was pass rushing anyway, right? So if it's a play action pass, you can jam them up at the line of scrimmage. Our defensive ends were really good at bumping guys at the line of scrimmage. That was their job. And so yeah, I could cover tight end, no problem.
So when you had to cover tight ends, what made it easier for you? Or was there anything?
It was the same. It was the same stuff. You got to have the right angle. You don't. The worst place to be as a defensive player is head up. You don't want to be. You want to take away the inside. Use your speed and your strength to cover the outside. Know which way they're going to go. Be prepared for whatever they've run so far that year. Oh, nice deep ball. Right on.
Deontay Spencer.
There you go.
Drew Lock.
That was Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater to Deontay Spencer. Man.
Yeah.
That was a deep one there.
Yeah.
Was it a 50-yarder?
And dropped it right in the bucket.
Yep.
Nice throw.
Very nice. I hadn't seen Deontay Spencer catch too many deep balls like that. That's great to see him getting in action and on the deep balls there.
That's just like catching a punt, right?
Yeah, right.
Just overplayed it and had to turn around and catch it over your shoulders. But that was a nice catch.
And as a defensive player, you hate to give up those plays, even in practice. You know, as a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker, you know, covering someone, you hate for the opponent to make a catch on you.
Right. As a pass rusher, you're like, I had the sack. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. That's right. They may have had the sack there too, right?
Right. Don't worry about it. We took care of that for you.
A lot of the focus has been on those wide receivers, but some of those DBs back there for the Broncos have been making plays, including the elder statesman from Alabama, Kareem Jackson, who made most of the plays in the previous practice on Saturday. Let's head down to Alexis Perry for more on K-Jack's return to Denver this season. Alexis?
Yeah, thanks so much, Matt. Kareem Jackson on Saturday, he was a sight for sore eyes as he had not just one, but 2 picks on Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I know what you like to say. You know, we hate seeing our quarterbacks throw an interception here, but in order for this Denver defense to live up to their extremely high expectations this year, the best place to start is in the turnover margin. Last season, the Broncos ranked 29th in takeaways and had the 32nd ranked turnover margin at -16. While the defense got off to a slow start, not forcing a single turnover in 11-on-11 drills throughout the first 3 days of camp. Getting 3 total on Saturday was the progress Broncos country was waiting to see. Now, it's just something they need to do on a more consistent basis. Jackson said after practice on Saturday that every day they come out here, that should be the main thing for them, to force turnovers and get the ball. Adding, if they can come out here and do it consistently, he has no doubt that it'll translate to game days. In this setting, interceptions are bittersweet, but as you hope for the rest of the secondary to start racking up the picks, don't expect these quarterbacks not to respond the way they would while in the midst of a true position battle. These guys are fierce competitors, and the pads haven't even come on yet. That will be tomorrow. Guys?
Yes, hey, I agree. It's going to be it's a battle. They're in a battle, and Kareem Jackson coming up with those 2 picks, and McTelvin Agim with the other pick. That gave I think the defense a little bit of an oomph, you know, to say, hey, we're not only playing solid defense, we're getting turnovers too. That comes along with playing good defense. But when you're stopping teams, they start grasping for straws, trying to make a play. And that's when the interceptions come. Sometimes easy ones.
Yeah, that's the next step, right? You first thing you do is you shut down the run a little bit, make them uncomfortable, put them in situations they don't want to be in, and then you got a chance to get those turnovers. So yeah, that's I'm excited that this defense is, you know, made that little spark yesterday, and hopefully they'll continue that throughout the season.
How should the turnovers come? I mean, to be great on defense, I mean, should you have a ton of forced fumbles? Should you have interceptions, sack fumbles? I mean, how should they come? What's the best way? I know anyway. You take them any way they come.
Right, take them any way they come. you were talking about McTelvin and his ability to run to the ball. That you love that.
Yeah.
When you got everybody around the ball, that's when the turnovers happen.
Yes.
Right. It's a hustle thing. It's yeah. I did my job plus I got the ball out, or I did my job plus I tipped it, and then we got an interception out of the deal. So that's the next step from being a solid defense to being a great defense.
Yeah. And when you look at great defenses on TV, when you're watching games, you got 9, 10, 11 guys going to the ball every single play.
Every single play, swarming to the ball, and that's, you know, you're watching them out here, and you know, some of the backside guys aren't getting to the ball. You got to get there wherever you lined up. So hopefully the coaches are watching that and you know, appreciate the guys that are full speed to the ball every play.
Did your coaches instill that in you, or did you just have that in you?
I'm going to try and get. Yeah, if you time a pro football game from snap to whistle, So just the time when the ball's in play and leave all the other crap out, it's less than 10 minutes.
I know, right? That's crazy.
And you play half of those, right? If you're playing every down on defense, so that's less than 5 minutes over a 3-hour period. How could you not run to the ball on every play?
I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was in college, we were in a game and I was running to make a tackle, and I thought my teammate had tackled the guy, and I stopped, and the guy, of course, missed the tackle, and the guy ran into the end zone, and I went up to the sideline. My coaches, they slamming their hats down. Atwater, what the F? You know, they just saw I got all the expletives. So from that day forward,
lesson.
Yeah. From that day forward, I was all out to the ball, to the whistle blew.
Yeah.
I got to catch that one.
Yep, he had some open field if he would have caught it.
I think he probably could have taken a little bit off of that one too.
Right.
I think it was a little hard there.
Yeah. I remember when John started, when Elway started, he didn't have any sort of damper on those short passes, and he was just beating people up with them. And after a while, he figured it out. But that's an adjustment when you have a cannon. You want to use it all the time instead of backing off on the throw.
That's right, guys. So I guess everybody needs to hear that John Elway was once a rookie.
Yes, he was, and he made mistakes, and he threw the ball too hard, and whatever. But he learned from his mistakes. That's the thing. In the NFL, every practice play and every game play is graded, and you're evaluated on everything you do. And even if you're the best of the best, you're grading out in 90% area. Right? So 10% of the time you're wrong, and you got to learn how to deal with that. You got to learn how to fix it, right? So set some goals around it. Don't make that same mistake twice. Coaches are fine if you make a mistake. Just don't make the same mistake twice.
Now, with the different coaches that you had, did different coaches grade practice differently? Did they, or were they like they all kind of had the same thing?
They did, right? There's a right way and a wrong way to do anything on the football field. And if you do it right, you got credit for it, you got praise for it in the meetings. And if you did it wrong, you got called out, because everybody else in that room has to know that, wait, this isn't how we do it. We do it this other way. And it didn't matter if you were an all-pro or if you were a rookie who hey, we got a pick. Yes. There we go. Old number 2.
Number 2. PS2.
There it is. That's the guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the first of many interceptions for Pastor Ted II.
That was nice. I mean, obviously it hit him right in the belly, but it hit him right in the belly because he was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And I know Broncos country doesn't want to hear this. Drew Lock was the passer on that play. He had a deep route that was behind that in-cutting route, and he tried to squeeze it in there, wasn't able to get it there, but. Good effort.
Steve, how much 7-on-7 did, because that's the period that we're in right now, 7-on-7. How much 7-on-7 did you do in your career? Carl mentioned it. A lot of those practices back in the day, were full pads. So was there a reason to go 7-on-7?
Oh yeah, we still did 7-on-7, and 7-on-7 was much more difficult because there's so much space on the field, and so we would go from 7-on-7, which was, I think, more difficult. Well, first we go man-to-man, one-on-one, and then that was the most difficult. Then you go to 7-on-7, where you got a few more people on the field. People can't be as free with their routes. And then you go to team, to where it's more realistic and you can really compete. But yeah, we did quite a bit of it.
Usually when 7-on-7 was happening, I was over pass rushing. They got the pass rush drills going over there at this point. So
a little bit of having fun pass rushing now.
Yeah, that's where they sent me. They figured he's got that coverage down. He doesn't. Can't help this guy. Let's get him over there pass rush.
Yeah. McTelvin Agim over there, and also Deshaun Williams. Yeah, Coach Bill Kolar over there, getting the guys right.
Yeah. It's the techniques and styles of pass rushing have evolved through the years. Most of the time when I was playing, a pass was thrown from a 7-step drop. There wasn't a whole lot of shotgun. So the angle you took was different. You could get deeper as a pass rush. You could delay the crossing in the games we did as pass rushers. That now at today's game, it's a 3-step dropper. The guy's already in shotgun and he's stepping up.
Everything happens super fast.
Everything happens faster, and it's a lot more of a push up the middle that makes a difference. Because if there's not a push up the middle, they just step up, and Vaughn's not going to get them from around the corner, right? Because they've already stepped up. So that push up the middle is huge in today's game.
Just had our second interception of practice. Curtis Robinson,
Yeah,
an inside linebacker, getting the INT in 7-on-7.
Yeah, man.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Come on, man. How you do that in 7-on-7? But, hey, good play nonetheless by Curtis Robinson. And the last play, Cortland Sutton, nice pass from Teddy Bridgewater. Caught the ball about 15 yards deep and was able to run it in. It's amazing. These guys will be doing these same plays, something similar to this, all season long. And, you know, it's nothing to these guys. It's just another play.
Right.
But for everyone on the field here, you know, all of us spectators who we haven't seen football in a while, we hadn't been able to come out to practice. It's so exciting. Just hey, the guy's throwing the ball, the guy's catching the ball. It's not a game situation.
Right. Nobody sucked up on the play action pass on that one. Right. The safeties just stood there. They're like, no, I don't care. It's not a run.
Yeah, but it's still fun to see.
Yeah. Oh, got him. Nice.
Ooh. Teddy Bridgewater connecting with the one and only number 10, Jerry Jeudy. It's amazing because so many years the Broncos hadn't drafted many Alabama players.
Right.
And here in the last 2 years, we got two back-to-back. And I think we got two amazing players in Jerry Jeudy and Pastor Tan II.
Yeah, it's tough to separate the player from the team. If you have such a dominant team like Alabama does, all the players look great because everybody else around them is great, right? Yeah. So what happens if you pull them out of that situation and put them on a team that's trying to build? You don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to draft a guy from a place like Alabama, you know, especially in the first pick, just because you don't know how he's going to play with your guys. You definitely know how he's going to play if you have just a totally dominant player.
Yeah. They're just bullying teams.
Right?
This Broncos team, guys, a lot of youth, a lot of talent, as you just mentioned. A lot of our media friends have their eyes peeled for a lot of these players. And one of the guys who's been on the beat the longest is Broncos insider Mike Klis. This is Mike's 17th season on the beat, Alexis. He looks pretty good for 17 seasons on the beat, doesn't he?
17 seasons on the beat. That is what Matt Boyer just told me.
Yeah, I think that's right. How about that?
How does it feel?
You know what? It still had a little jump in the step a week before camp, and then the morning of the first day, somebody got into my Twitter account that kind of threw me a curveball and messed me up right away. But we're back. We're back up.
Okay, what is the handle? Is it still the same?
Still Mike Klis, at Mike Klis.
At Mike Klis. You guys can find him on Twitter with all the hot takes coming out of the UCL Training Center. Speaking of which, we're 4.5 days into camp. What are your overall impressions of this team so far?
Well, like everybody else, you know, I only have two eyes, so I pretty much put them on the quarterbacks. Yep. I'm not following the safety battle or the cornerback or the defensive lineman battle, but I'm following the quarterbacks. And it was going well till Saturday. Yeah. Saturday was a bit of a discouraging day, but they're bouncing back and playing well today. So it's going to be whoever Vic Fangio, you know, the style, I think, more than a separation, who's better. Yeah. I think it's Teddy Bridgewater, who's safer, more accurate, less turnovers Saturday notwithstanding. Drew Lock, more of a gunslinger, bigger plays, more mistakes. I think with that early season schedule, I've been saying Teddy Bridgewater's the favorite. Yep. But we'll see. Drew is definitely competing.
I do want to point out, pending official review of the tape, I'm pretty sure that pick that Kareem Jackson had on Jerry Jeudy, the diving catch, or no, excuse me, it was the second one, the diving catch.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure if that was clean. That one might have hit the ground, but either way, great to see Kareem Jackson getting on the action. That's what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But do you want to see the defense getting picks out here, or would you rather see these quarterbacks out here keeping the ball safe?
I think people are comfortable with the defense. It's been a good defense, even when their personnel wasn't good, because Vic Fangio is a good defensive coordinator. He gets the most out of his players. I mean, with all these cornerbacks, you know, they've got 4 of them. We're all wondering how they're all going to get on the field at the same time. But it looks more stout than ever, providing Vaughn and Bradley Chubb are okay. Yeah. And they're going to be 100% healthy and back to form. What's been the problem with the Broncos the last 5 years, really 6 years, counting Peyton's last year in 15, the Super Bowl year, the quarterback play has been below average. And I think people want to see, if they're going to go far, big picture, if you're going to go far in the playoffs in this league, you have to have good quarterback play. So the more we see of that, I think the more encouraged people will be.
Which rookies are encouraging you right now?
Well, you know, without pads, Javonte Williams, the running back, looks really good. Seth Williams struggled early. He's starting to catch some passes right now. Baron Browning's been out. Quinn Miners, you know, he's a center. I guess the belly's doing well. Heck if I know.
Air it out.
But Pat Surtain just had a nice pick, and everybody just raves about him. They got to get him on the field one way or the other.
What's something that you want to see more of here as the pads come on tomorrow?
A fight? No, okay. Okay, I got you. Well, that would spice things up. But you know, when the pads come on, that's when you really can start evaluating the running backs. Mike Shanahan told me that a while ago. He said the 2 positions you can't evaluate until the pads come on, and really until the games, is the running back and the safety. Because those are, you know, the safety comes up and hits, and we assume Kareem Jackson is still going to hit while Justin Simmons does, you know, roams. And then you want to see Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, especially Mike Boone. But Javonte Williams, I think, is the guy everyone wants to see once those pads come on.
Okay, really quick before I let you go, you know, obviously this Wednesday, Steve Atwater heads to Canton to begin the celebration there. I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh.
You called my man, number 27, when he was waiting for the knock from David Baker.
Yeah.
I just have to get this on record. What on God's green earth were you thinking?
Well, you know, the year before I called, and we'll always have that call, by the way. The year before I called, and Steve gave me the bad news that he got the bad call from David Baker. So, you know, in order to be first, sometimes you have to be early. And so I called. I thought they had already had all the knocks and everything, and I called. But actually, Steve told me he was glad it was me and not Dave Baker. So, yeah, you know, I'm just trying to. I'm being a reporter. I'm being a reporter, and yeah, he hadn't yet to hear the news, and he was glad that the call was from me and not from Dave Baker.
Well, Klis, we are really glad that call was from you and not David Baker.
I'll be there, by the way, with Steve and Peyton Manning and John Lynch. And I was just talking to Steve about that phone call you were referring to. I said, we're always going to have that phone call, Steve. I'll always be part of your story.
Oh, yeah, Steve, are you glad that he's always a part of your story?
Absolutely,
be honest.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. And I tell Mike, I respect him. I respect him for shooting a shot like that. Yeah, that was awesome. Definitely a surprise, you know, waiting on David Baker to call and to hear from Mike Klis. And I declined the call. I couldn't take the call at that time. It was an important time. But, you know, I saw it was Mike. I'm like, daggone it, Mike. You can't call me right now, but I'm glad it's you. Yeah, he understood.
Steve, how excited are you for this week? I know this is a huge week for you and your family, as this is one of your last shows. We've got today and tomorrow before you head to Canton. How excited are you?
Oh man, I'm super excited. You know, actually getting a little bit nervous, and I don't normally get nervous, man, but had trouble sleeping last night, and that normally doesn't happen to me, but I'll be all right. I'll be fine. But I'm definitely excited. Excited to really see everyone out there, see all of my friends in one place. I haven't seen all my friends in one place. I've never seen that. I normally have friends here in Colorado, have friends in St. Louis, friends in Arkansas, friends in Georgia. We'll all be in Canton, and it's going to be great.
We just mentioned Dennis Smith a little while ago. Dennis going to be your presenter on Hall of Fame night, right?
Yes, DS49. You know, I thought about all the people who had an impact on my career, and you know, there's quite a few people who did, but you know, Dennis made a significant impact on me, and even now we're really good friends and stay in touch, and so it was pretty much unanimous as I thought about it. It had to be him.
As we wrap up here on day 6 from Broncos camp, I want to get a final thought from each of you guys. Carl, I want to start with you. Just heading into this second week of training camp, how encouraged are you, and what did you see out here that you liked so far at camp?
Yeah, I like the idea of getting people back healthy, young guys getting experience last year, the guys they've added on defense. I mean, to me, this looks like the type of year that we had in '89, '88. I believe we were 8-8. Had some injuries, had some guys playing, and then all of a sudden, boom, they bounce back in '89 and go all the way to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Steve, we saw a couple of interceptions already today. PS2 getting on the board. How you feel about the secondary?
Oh, man, I feel so good about the secondary. And I felt that way, man, ever since we brought in Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller, and then to go and draft Pat Surtain II. That was kind of the icing on the cake. So I think that definitely is going to be the strong point of the defense. But we have each area I think we're really strong in. So I'm anxious to see us put pressure on the quarterback. I'm anxious to see us make a lot of interceptions and big hits from our linebackers, the whole 9 yards. We got to get the quarterback situation squared away. I don't think we got any clarity on it yet, though. You know, both Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater both threw interceptions. But I wouldn't say that's the only measure of how good they're playing is who throws an interception, who doesn't throw an interception. It's the whole picture, and the coaches know much more about that than we do. That's
going to do it for us today at UC Health Training Center. Carl, special thanks to you for coming out and being with us. If folks want to find you, where can they find you on the internet or social media?
Yeah, both. CarlMecklenburg.com is my website. I'm a professional speaker. I do about 40 keynotes a year all around the country. Been doing that for longer than I played pro football.
So, now, what about your book?
I got a book, Heart of a Student Athlete. They can find that on the website, too.
Nice.
Broncos country, we are back tomorrow for day 7 of Broncos training camp. And we've got a good one. We mentioned it. It's Hall of Fame week, and we've got a gold jacket who's going to be on stage with us. Pro Football Hall of Famer Terrell Davis is in Denver for what will be Steve's final show with us before he heads to Canton for the Hall of Fame festivities. It all starts tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. as Broncos practice begins. But until then, Broncos country, for Alexis Perry and the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, I'm Matt Boyer. We will see you tomorrow on Broncos Training Camp Live, presented by U.S. Bank.